At what point did you get your AZ? Was
I don't
that
have my AZ.
your DZ?
I have my DZ. I was like 16 or 17.
Holy shit, that long, eh?
Yeah,
Before
I
you
had.
needed 3 years experience
Oh,
to
you
drive.
didn't? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I used to. So I used to be the watering guy. There was
Yeah.
two watering guys. One watering guy had a big single axle 5 ton GMC
Brigadier.
5000.
Yeah.
Uh, it was the model before Brigadier, or it was the
Oh,
model after. It was the one with the big round lights. Wasn't a Brigadier, and it
like a
was
C.
C 5000 maybe.
I get a C 8500. That's the
Uh,
biggest one time.
yeah, so it
It's the
was.
biggest single axle. Okay. Anyway,
It was old though. It was like an '86 or something. Like
top
this is.
kick.
This was before Top Kicks.
Okay.
This is pre Top Kick days. Remember, I'm 50. You're 35. Um, so there was that truck that had this like cool crane on it, high ab crane, and a big 1,500 gallon water tank. And you would pump from the hydrant. You'd like hose the sod off with like a fire hose with a big
Yeah.
pump, not a 3-inch trash pump, but a big pump.
A 2 inch pump is fine for salt.
Yeah. So, and then there was the other watering person, and that person would drive around with a little 1.5-inch pump and a bunch of garden hoses, and then throw it into a pond, and then fish 500 garden hoses together and water all the plants around the retaining pond. And I was that watering guy, and that
Okay.
job sucks. Thousands of feet of hose caught on every willow that's growing out of the ground. It's horrible. And so the owner said to me, if you get your DZ license, you can drive the big truck and water the sod. And I was like, now this is the same about probably about the same time people were telling me to go to college, and I was like, there's a fucking career path. That's what I'm doing.
I gotta get the DZ.
I'm gonna go get my DZ. I selected my college courses in 30 seconds based on the alphabet. But when you told me there was a chance to drive the big truck to water the sod, I'm all in, baby. Like,
That's
what
it.
do I need to do to
That's
make this
the
happen?
ticket. Yeah.
And so I went and got my DZ, and then back then, no one like. I remember we used to like there was a big company, that company, the first company I worked at. There was like 50, 60 guys. It was like one of the biggest landscaping companies in Ontario back then. It was a big company. We used to have like a big boardroom and have team meetings every morning, and everyone would get. It was when I went to like normal landscaping companies, like holy fuck, this is not. I thought that's what everyone did, right? It's the only place I ever worked, and we would put a licensed driver in the first truck and a licensed driver in the last truck, and then we would drive as a convoy so the cops couldn't get in between where all the unlicensed guys were. It's like in a convoy of 5 trucks, 3 of them would be being driven by people that had no driver's license.
Typical landscapers.
Oh yeah, meeting every stereotype on the planet. Like
Yeah.
back then, you used to drop off half the guys. Like back then, doing weekends was a big thing. Everyone would do their time on weekends. So like you drop them off at like Whitby used to have the Whitby bucket. Used to be down where the GO train station is. So you'd swing by the Whitby bucket and drop a few guys off, and then head up to the yard. They'd do weekends, and then you'd swing down there and pick them up on Monday because they were allowed to work through the week.
Oh
It was
my
like
god.
different.
Yeah, that's a
Back then,
yeah.
totally different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was a different world. It was a different world. It was we used to sometimes ride to the job site in the bucket of the loader. Like 4 or 5 of us would get in the bucket of the loader, and it's like, don't bounce out, man. If there's a big bounce, there's nothing to hold on to either except each other and just cling. We used to ride to the job sites in the back of the dump trucks, and you have to keep your head down so no one can see you. Like,
I've ridden as a passenger in the backhoe, but never like you're sitting over the wheel well on the tire.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. You're just barely holding on to the one armrest of the guy driving, but that's as risky as we've gotten ever.
It's such a different
Yeah.
We used to do jobs on the side of the highway without a pylon.
Wow.
Like the side of the 401, like Dixie Road by the airport. No pylons, nothing, no vests. We had this job where we planted, I don't know, 75,000 pea shrubs at Dixie Road. I still have like PTSD when I drive by Dixie Road in the 401. This was like 30 years ago. I did this. I'm still like, because some of them are still there, alive, and we one of the jobs was to go and spray the weeds in the garden. And so they said to me, okay, go out, take the dump truck. Here's a sprayer. Here's some of this Roundup shit. Pour it in. Don't touch the plants that we want to live. Only spray the stuff we want to die. If someone comes and asks what you're doing, throw the sprayer over the fence into the airport where they can't access it and run. These were like my directions on the piece of paper that I got for the day. And I was like, okay. So we're out. That's probably just me because I used to do work like out spraying, and like we took our shirts off. It's hot as shit in the middle of the 401 in August. We're spraying, and then all like 5 years later, I mean, that Roundup shit hits your skin, goes in your blood, stops your heart. I'm like, you gotta wear a full bodysuit to spray it. I'm like, fucking spraying this stuff in my shorts. What the fuck it is? Ah, yeah, it's all blowing back on me.
Cool yourself off with it.
It's like Zoolander with the gas scene.
There's me and this one other guy used to get like the worst jobs for whatever, like get assigned always the worst jobs there, and we were like literally in the parking lot joking. One day we're going to get assigned to work at like some nuclear site or some shit. And we went in, and the guy who owned the company said, in Scarborough, there was a paint plant, and it had dumped so much shit that the soil was radioactive. And they put it all in a big bubble, a plastic bubble, on Meadowvale, and it's buried under. It's in a plastic bubble for like 200 years, and then there's dirt on top of it. And the boss said, "Head out to the radioactive mound on Meadowvale." And I was like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like, all right, man. There's not a lot of jobs right now. Out we go, man.
Try and get someone to do that these days.
No,
Never.
clean out the drain to the radioactive, because there's drains that come out of the mound, and they monitor the amount of water that comes out of them to see if there's a leak or a perforation in the liner. And there's a certain amount of condensation, even though there's so much soil on top. So there's an allowable amount of radioactive water that runs out of the mound. But they thought it might be plugged. So one of my assigned tasks was to stick my hand into the mound.
No.
Yes, dude. Like, sometimes I wake up in the morning. It's fucking miracle that I'm alive.
Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you got a sixth finger.
No one. People will be like, "Oh, your lungs are so fucked up," and I'm like, "Yeah." Well, you should have worn a mask. I'm like, that wasn't a thing.
They didn't have masks when we started.
No one told me that there was a mask to wear. And if they had, I wouldn't have worn it anyways.
Yeah.
Like, but no one told me there was no option of a mask.
Yeah. If you were cutting in a corner, you'd take your shirt and you'd put it over your nose, and you would.
If you were a sock, yeah, you would.
Wow.
If you were a man, you would breathe in the dust.
There's only so much dust. Like, I don't. If you're cutting in a corner with no air circulation, you're putting your t-shirt over your face.
Your t-shirt, a t-shirt mask.
Yeah.
That's one of the great things about COVID is everyone has masks all the time now. They just throw them on and they light up the saw.
I went into Fastenal. Yes. No, not yesterday. It would have been Friday. And they said they wouldn't serve me because I was just like a person walking off the street. And then they asked me if I had a business. And I said, yes, I have a business. They said, okay, we can serve you then. What do you need? And I handed him this broken bolt from the trailer. He takes it, goes off and does his thing. Comes back. It's like, okay, I can sell this to you now, but you have to put on a mask to come in here and pay for it. And
were you already in the building?
Yeah, I was in between the doors there. They still lock the fucking doors at this place. And you have to dial the number, and it was like last year. It was like it was in a time warp to a year ago. But apparently, this is still acceptable.
So I met my mom in Port Hope to pick up some goalie skates from her because they don't make goalie skates I can wear anymore. And these are like old ones from one of my dad's friends that's over 70 he plays hockey with that had the skates that I needed. So I'm in Port Hope and we went to go into McDonald's and the McDonald's was fully locked down. Drive through only. That's definitely not a public health thing. I think that's just purely a profitability thing.
Yeah, yeah. We have a Tim Hortons like that. No indoors. You have to go through the drive-through.
Less staff, all the
Yeah.
garbage goes away with you. They don't have to dispose of the garbage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Today I went to the garbage dump to dump the bin of garbage from the yard. And when I pulled on the scale to leave, I got out, and the lady said to me, "The woman that drives your other bin truck." I said, "Yeah." She said she didn't have a wallet and she couldn't pay me, and she'd come back, and she never came back from 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, "Fuck." I'm usually not the person that takes the bin to the garbage dump. I was like, "Fucking Cody, fuck." And I said, "Well, I'll pay you for it. Like, no problem." Like, Cody would, like, obviously she forgot about it and got sidetracked. And, like, I'm worried about the $30 dump fee at the garbage dump. Like, I fucking care. But then the lady's like, "Well, she's going to have to come back here and tear her truck in empty because I don't have an empty tear. I only have her tear on the way out." Like, well, if you saved her tear on the way out, why wouldn't you save her tear on the way in? Now we have to drive a truck back there and tear in to pay a garbage bill from, and it was all plastic from our skids, so it probably didn't even hit the $25 minimum. Like, probably gonna pay $25 no matter what happens. Like,
Should have just burned it.
You could have just burned it.
could have burned it, except that I live somewhere where that's not acceptable.
But it's fine to put your hand in a radioactive tube.
Yeah.
That was 25 years, probably 30 years
You
ago.
know what? Cornwall is probably 25 years behind everywhere else in Ontario. So
Not in
Yeah.
distribution.
not in distribution. You're right. That's correct.
Although everyone else is using fully automated distribution.
Yeah, we don't have that here.
Oh, you're
And
right.
our manpower is severely less powerful than AI. I'll tell you that right now. We have some rough people working here in distribution.
So, where were you today? Was that Cornwall?
No, I was in Brockville, which is a tier below Cornwall, if you could believe it. They have no distribution centers, and
What
an
do they
epidemic
have?
of meth.
Really?
Meth?
Yeah, meth, like methamphetamine,
Oh, okay.
like drug out. They have a tent city. I think there's, I don't know how big. Brockville's maybe 20,000 people or something, but they got a tent city. Yeah, meth heads, all the stuff you'd expect from a big city just in a small town.
What do they do in Brockville? Like, what's the purpose of Brockville?
I don't know. I don't know what their claim to fame is in Brockville.
So there's obviously no distribution centers.
Not that I know of. No, they have a small aquarium. They have a Hampton Inn that we did the landscaping for last year. They have a Starbucks and a Walmart, all the typical things, but I don't know what keeps the economy alive over there. It's not big by any means.
Economics 101
Yeah,
here on the Not Our Finest Hour podcast.
which I absolutely didn't take in university. Although-
I didn't take
Although, yeah, no, my school was big on that. It was a business school, apparently.
Yeah, I went to Laurier too.
Yeah,
I
You
took
guys both went to
economics and
Laurier?
I failed.
yeah. That wasn't even an option for me in school. Like
What? Economics?
they never pushed. I didn't even know it was a major before I went to university.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, my high
If it
school was,
did, would you have taken it?
no. I wanted to be a carpenter, and they told me no. They told me,
Really?
yeah, they said don't go to college, go to university. Your marks are okay. So I said, okay, well, let's go take English then. But yeah, I could have been a carpenter. I could have been a builder.
Framer.
I could have been doing something right off the hop, but instead, I just burned 6 years of my life. It was fun, but
So did you have your own? Did you get like rent a chair at the barbershop?
no, I finished my apprenticeship and then that was it before I went like full time on your own and all this shit. No, I landscaping pulled me in before I finished or before I started doing my own.
I find it interesting that none of us took landscaping.
Can you? Was that an option? Like one of my workers has he's got a red seal horticulture, but other than that, like
Does that mean he cuts the burlap off the trees?
he actually doesn't plant trees at all. No, uh, he's a brick guy, but apparently you have to have a red seal horticulturalist on a lot of sites, a lot of commercial sites for some reason. Yeah, or it's a prerequisite or something like that. Or, I don't know, someone affiliated with LO or something like that. I don't know, but he's there just in case. But,
Got some things to do in Cornwall. I want to know if you've done them before here, Chad.
yeah, let's go.
Lost Villages Museum. This is the top list of things to do in Cornwall.
It's not a museum. Well, I mean, okay, sure, it's a museum. It's like 5 houses. You can't go in any of them. You can look at them from the outside. They were relocated from somewhere else. Have I been there?
Relocated from Brockville.
Yeah,
They stole their entire economy and moved it to Cornwall.
yeah. So yes, that one done.
Let's say historic SDG jail.
Yeah, but they have like a haunted ghost thing, or a ghost walk or whatever, like something every year. I've been to that. That was creepy. That was really creepy one year. Yeah, so I've been there.
So that's a go. Like
That's
if
a
I'm
go.
in Cornwall,
Yeah.
you go there.
No, not unless it's Halloween, but I'm sure you have better Halloween. Actually, I went to a haunted house at Binghamton's once. Scared the shit out of me. That's in Cambridge?
We supplied wood chips to the local haunted forest this year.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yeah.
spooky wood chips.
spooky wood chips.
I'd like to think that people
Black wood chips
No.
or
No, they're like
Natural.
playground mulch.
natural?
You know,
Why bar?
playground mulch is like actually like chips of wood. It's not bark. It's actual chips
Yeah,
of wood.
and you have to pack them with the play packer.
I don't know what we just dumped
Uh,
them.
Spec is to pack them so that the wheelchair kids can go over them.
Mm.
Yeah. So
Do you have something disparaging to say about them this week?
absolutely not.
Disparaging.
No,
Okay.
that's the inclusive thought is that these 5-bar mulch chips need to be packed so that the wheelchair kids can enjoy the playground. The same as
Fair
the
enough.
walking kids. Yeah.
I don't think it's that hard to pack the wood chips. What
You
difference?
have
Does
to
it make
drag
a
the
difference?
packer around. Yeah, a little bit. A
Yeah.
little bit. But I don't know
Can
if
you
I
use
want
the roller packer?
Are we?
Did
to.
you
Never tried.
did you pre-compact the wood
Yeah.
chips?
No, I didn't recompact the wood chips. No.
Chad, are we able to bring up the jointing compound today, or is that still?
I haven't done anything about it. I've been
Okay.
in town for a week. So
In Brockville.
Brock.
Oh, that's
No,
right.
well, I've been in White Lake and then Brockville.
What's White Lake?
White Lake's 2 hours away. On that
Is
big
there a lake?
residential.
Is there a lake there?
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a Madawaska River, cottage country. Beautiful up there.
So did you stay in a hotel?
No, we drove every day, back and
Ooh.
forth.
2 hours there, 2 hours home.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
So how long's a day when you do 2 hours there, 2 hours back?
We get there. So we start at 6. We get home at 6. But we're so productive in the meantime that it's a value for our client.
You know what I was thinking about this week?
What's that?
Well, I was going to bring it up. This was my prep. Did I disturb your list of things to do in Cornwall, Mike?
He did, but it's
Okay,
alright.
go ahead.
It's
I'm
fine.
surprised that wasn't it.
There's two things
I'm
to
just
do.
kidding. Yeah, I just pulled it up on my phone. Go ahead, Mike.
Um, what was the first thing you did when you decided to start a business? Like a real business. Like this is going to be a real business. Like, what was your first move? Like very raw, right down to it first move. Like what was like you woke up and you said, I'm starting a business. This is what I'm doing with my life. I'm moving this business forward. What was your like absolute first move of starting the business? Like what was the first thing you did to initiate self-employment?
I needed to get a truck. I didn't have a truck. I didn't have a vehicle, period. So I needed a truck.
I didn't have a vehicle at all.
I've never had I've never had a car in my life. So the first thing was like I gotta get some wheels. So found myself an old truck.
I this time around, um, the first time around, the very first thing I did was take a blank piece of paper and write lift and relay interlock on it, and then put phone numbers at the bottom and cut it and stuck it on the cork board at the Sobeys or whatever, the Lobes, whatever it was by my house.
Lobes AMP.
AMP. That was the base core of the first thing I did to become self-employed. This time, I ordered some business cards off Vistaprint, and the moment that I hit send, I was like, I'm in business now. Now I'm in business. Like I wasn't in business before I clicked right or left or which way do you click to say yes on an arrow? What's this?
Left click.
The left. So until I clicked left at Vistaprint, print the cards,
Yeah.
I was basically still employed by a corporation. And the moment that I clicked, that's when I knew I was self-employed because business cards were coming, and there was no way I could fucking back out.
You could not hand out the business cards.
Well, I was in my mind. I'm just saying, like in a mindset, that was the moment that I was self-employed. Was when I hit left clicked on the Vistaprint for the business cards.
Did it scare you, or were you happy, like stoked to be?
I was kind of like, well, I sleep in a house now. Last time I did this, I slept in the parking lot at Tim Hortons. Let's hope for a better outcome. Let's hope that
Yeah.
my family doesn't leave me. I don't sleep in the Tim Hortons. I don't fuck up every single person around me's life. Let's hope that's not what happens this time. And so far, the company is young though. But that was instill confidence in people there. But we did pick up a sweeper today, so it's not functioning, but we have it.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike?
I'm trying to think because like I did side jobs for so long.
That doesn't count. I'm talking about that moment when you were like, "Fuck the side jobs. I'm an entrepreneur."
I probably actually went ahead and registered my business and then went on Vistaprint as well. And then started to make a list of tools that I need to purchase instead of renting a quick cut for every side job.
That was the first thing I bought was an E20 this time.
Oh, really?
That's huge.
That's a big
'Cause-
purchase for your
Yeah,
first
that's a
thing.
big purchase for.
But it wasn't because I was like, I'm old and I'm not going to be able to dig patios by hand.
Okay, yeah.
So I either have to have an E20 or I can't be in business because I
Yeah.
can't dig by hand. And I guess I just grew up in a place where no one rented anything, and renting things was horrible. And you only rented them if you absolutely had to. And it's just a mindset that I guess I'm stuck in. But the more I do this with you, Mike, the more I think that perhaps renting a sweeper instead of buying one for $1,500 that's totally fucked up would be a better choice. But anyway, yeah. So Vistaprint on 2 out of 3.
Yeah, Vistaprint was huge
So-
for me. Do you still have your first business card?
Yeah,
I still have
I can
mine.
probably find it. So my mom is a graphic designer, and she built my logo, and yeah, so that's how. So she actually borrowed it from public domain, and changed a bunch of stuff. But I was in Mexico last winter.
That's where you go when you start a business.
No. But so I found the original public domain image that she pulled my graphic from, and it's on our trash can in Mexico. I share a logo with the trash can in Mexico.
Nice.
Or yeah, I can't find it. It's in here somewhere.
I don't know if I have any business cards for my first business.
What was your first business called?
Holman, because that's my grandfather's last name. Landscape Restoration.
So were you trying to focus in on the lift and relays for that first business?
That's all we did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
At first, and then obviously you get calls for other stuff, and then we started doing home shows, but originally that's what we did. We did lift and relays because it's economical, and there's someone screws you, they're screwing you for back then like a yard of limestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did a lot of those to start.
Same
I
here.
think everybody does. They must.
Remember, I was advertising at the grocery store.
Oh, one of the first things I did was put an ad on Kijiji.
For
Because it's
lift and
free.
relays?
For everything in general. Yeah.
Do you remember the first quote you ever went to?
Yes.
Yeah.
First couple, at least.
Did you get the job?
I got both of them.
No, not a fucking chance.
I
It
did
was
not.
it was
Side
a
jobs,
fucking
side jobs.
monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big
No,
one?
but do you remember the first quote when it mattered? Because that's the only way
Okay.
that you were going to earn a living now. There was no backup.
I remember my first worst quote or meeting that I went to. But none that's like really stick out beyond that.
Well, tell us about the bad one. I want to hear it now.
It was an old guy that when I showed up, he didn't look too happy. And it was just like a front walkway stripped down the driveway to his front porch area. And then it wrapped around the side to the gate. And with that, it was 4x8s. And there was about a 2 to 3 inch lip, like up that he would have had to step over and then step onto his steps going up. And he was very insistent to have that 2-inch trip hazard there. And I said, if I was to do this, I would take out this trip hazard and make a smoother transition to this so that there's no trip hazard for you. And he really didn't like that I brought that up. And then the side interlock was all drifting away because it really needed either just to be sunken down a little bit more or to have a retaining wall if he wanted the same level. He really didn't like that suggestion either.
What about concrete edging? or a hybrid edging? Would that have done it?
Did you pull on it with a chain?
That's what I showed him. Started reefing on it.
The chain test.
This is gonna work. This isn't gonna cut it. And then so I emailed him his quote, and his response back was, "You don't know what you're talking about. I'm not gonna go with you. I've went with somebody else."
Good. Have you been by the job since? Have you seen it?
No, I've never gone back to see that.
How many jobs have you gone back to see if they actually did the job when you didn't get it?
I don't think I have, to be honest. I've been curious. Like that's
You're
probably
a better
up there for
person
one that
than
I'm
me.
curious. Yeah.
I've driven by and seen them done by someone else. Like, fuck her. But but no.
Oh yeah, I've gone back to see if they actually did the work.
Really? You take time out of your day to do that?
I just don't have time to do
Yeah.
that.
So there was a couple reasons for that. Personal ego being number one, but number two, if I was in a neighborhood where I did work that I hadn't closed the work, I would oftentimes drive by to see if the work had been done, and if it hadn't been done, I would reissue an email to those people to see if they were saving money to get the work done, or I would touch base with them again because I already had an investment in the property to see if I could re-stimulate them wanting to do the work.
Does that ever work?
Yeah,
Yeah, really?
I would. I mean, I haven't done. I haven't been. This was like
Yeah, I
times
know.
were different.
Yeah.
Like this was, because sometimes you work like there's neighborhoods in Durham Region. I've never closed a fucking job, not once.
Yeah.
If people call me and they're on those streets, I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming. I
Yeah.
don't.
I
Like
gotta
I
do
just,
that.
yeah, I've bid, and then there's neighborhoods where I go and every job I've ever bid, I've closed, and I don't know what the mental. It's obviously something to do with my mental mindset of being in that neighborhood. Because maybe I failed a couple times and now I have an expectation of failure when I go to the meeting and people read that off my body language, or like there's something going on with me. It's like it's it's not that a neighborhood doesn't have a sign screw Mike Pennington in the neighborhood. There's not a sign on the mailbox Paver King's a fraud. Like that doesn't exist except in that Sam Moore guy from the Internet Trolls neighborhood. He has that up in his neighborhood, but Sam Moore 65. Sam Moore 64 was taken. So, um, so it's obviously something wrong with me when I go to those neighborhoods. But yeah, like so you're in a neighborhood where you do a lot of work, you didn't close the job. I would back in the day. Now I'd be like, I don't really care. There's lots of leads and whatever. I would cruise by and I would, if they hadn't done the work, I would send an email and just say, hey, drove by your house the other day to another quote, noticed you hadn't done that work. I'm wondering if you were just saving up for the budget or if you were interested in doing the work anymore or if we could revisit the work. And I had lots of people call me back and we got
That's actually
jobs done.
smart. That's really
Yeah.
smart.
I've done a lot of it's called desperation. It's not smart.
Or you got that from your advertising degree.
No, I was just desperate.
Oh,
I need somewhere to work.
okay.
Like pure desperate. Like people are like there's that whole thing that all the hardscape guys are doing with the, like I go up and I look at someone's door and then I make a commentary on their door. The first thing I say to them is something about the door because 9 times out of 10 people love their front door, and if they don't, then you say, "Oh, what would?" Anyways, so that was just out of desperation to close jobs. I'm not smarter than anyone. I'm just more desperate. Like in in 2007, 2008, when times were shit, like you might go to 50 quotes to get 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And you had to hustle hard to get those. It was really tough go. And there was only like 15 or 20 landscapers and you're just constantly bidding against the same guys.
Yeah.
And there was people that were just asinine on the cheap. And I didn't have any fucking overhead. I couldn't beat them, and it just, people doing shoddy work, people doing shitty. See, now people collect huge money, do shitty work, never come back, disappear. I guess it's probably been going on forever, but there was a time when people just did shitty work and then never answered their phone because there was no internet. So if you just changed your phone number every year, people couldn't find you because there was no way to track you. Like there was no social media pages. There was no. I think sometimes people are a bit more invested now. Anyways, all that stuff came through. I'm lazy. I'm a really lazy person. So if I've already invested all my time with this person and didn't close the job, and then they chose not to do the work, it was more than likely that they couldn't afford the work. And if someone can't afford the work, they go one of two ways. They just give up on doing the work or they start saving the money for the work. So I want to be the guy who touches base with those people when they've saved the money to do the work. I used to be. Now I'm like, whatever, call some. Like, maybe we'll be there again next year. I'll be cruising neighborhoods of prices. I don't remember the last time I quoted a job and didn't get it.
Yeah.
I haven't done quotes in months. Holy shit.
Same. Chad, what was your first quote like?
I can't remember. I honestly, yeah, the giant monster job. She's like, I want 4 sets of steps back here and a patio to be this big, and it was like 1,500 square feet. I didn't even own a wheelbarrow. I don't think. That was before. So I'm like, okay, yeah, and like you're a yes man, right? And then you're just like, how am I going to get out of embarrassing myself that I can't do this? So you go home and you price it fucking sky high. And thankfully she's like, no, we're going to go with someone else. So that was fine. thankfully. Like, I couldn't do it anyway, right? So I asked my old boss, I'm like, you want to dig the base? He's like, oh, I'm too busy. So it was never not going to work for us anyway. So, but it was upward after that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is this the end of the episode?
The end of the episode.
This is probably the end of the second episode.
Holy
The-
shit.
Our even worse hour.
Holy shit.
Wasn't I think the second hour might have been better than the first hour.
I think so.
Got a little bit more deep. I don't even remember the first hour, other than Mike berating Sam and Phil.
Who's Sam? There's only one person in the Sam Moore. Sam Moore 65. At Sam Moore 65. If you really want to know about hardscaping, check out his privatized account. If you want to see nothing to do with hardscaping, follow Sam Moore 65. Dave Jewell's favorite account on Instagram.
Well, of
I'm gonna
course.
get heat about that whole shit. I guarantee.
Yeah, you will.
In about 3 weeks.
He's-
You got some time.
Well, in about 3 weeks, you can put up Mike's beef with Faithful. Mike's beef with Sam Moore at Sam Moore 65. Sam Moore 65 thinks I'm a clown. And most of the population agrees with him. He's a smart guy. He was drinking. Give him a break.
He was drinking.
I was like on a two. When was that? Was that on a what day? Was that?
It was last week. It must have been late. It must have been like Thursday because it
So
wasn't
this
like
guy was like wasted on Wednesday night from making a commentary on the chain pulling video from. That guy loves that. Although I will give Sam Moore 65 one thing. That guy loves hybrid edging. Like, I mean, I think he wants to marry it. I'm going to make that comment right now. If you love hybrid edging so much, Sam Moore 65, you should marry it.
Sam Moore is gonna get so many friend requests for after this episode drops. He's not gonna know what everybody from the Dominican or from Costa Rica or wherever our audience is.
Costa Rica. Really? I've always wanted to go to Costa Rica.
I'm going to Costa Rica in a
Nice.
couple months. Yeah. Yeah.
That seems like a sick place.
Are we invited, Chad? Or
Well, yeah, if you want to pay your way. Sure, go on. No, if it's like, so it's right above Panama, right? And I had a fucking blast in Panama. So if it's as good as
Are
Panama,
you staying at a resort or a hotel?
resort. We always stay at a resort. I don't like to do anything when I go on vacation.
I
Like,
agree with you.
like nothing. Like, you know, you can do excursions and stuff. I don't even want to do an excursion. I want to sit on my ass in the sun. And Panama is so nice. Like, the pool water is warm. It's like a bath water. And you can just look at the mountains and the ocean at the same time. And the dying pelican that's swimming in your pool. And yeah,
Awesome.
so we had a pelican that everybody thought it was the greatest thing, right? To see this pelican swimming in the pool with you and everything. And then one of the guys who worked there is like, it's really sad. Like, the thing is dying. It's here because it can't go out there and get its own food. Like, it's at the end of its life. and you think that this pelican's here to improve your stay, but it's not. It's there because it can't eat anything elsewhere, and it's getting its last scraps of food at the end of its life.
So were people feeding? What do you feed a pelican?
Whatever there's French fries and hamburgers.
At least the pelican was eating like a king.
Yeah. Like that. In all honesty, that's probably the way to go if you're going to be a feral animal in your last days at a resort, right?
You should bring happiness to the people.
Yeah.
The pelican obviously brought you happiness.
Absolutely. My daughter got a picture near the pelican. I tried to pet
So you
it.
let your daughter near the feral pelican at the end of its life.
Well,
Let's stand near the pelican. We gotta get a quick snapshot of the.
yeah, but when you're
Chad's
there,
got his arm around the pelican.
you're thinking,
This thing's dying.
what bad thing ever happens in paradise? You're not thinking of anything bad happening in paradise.
We were in Jamaica, And we're driving on the bus the first time we went there with the kids, and you're driving through the neighborhoods, and they have tons of like 3-story buildings with staircases down the side that kind of stick out of the building. There's no railings on them, any of them. And I was like, this country is survival of the fittest. Like,
I bet. Yeah.
this is survival. There was an underground tunnel that went under the highway so that there was you could go from our resort to the golf club. And you're in the wagon, and the guys running the wagon turn around and yell, duck. And if you don't duck, you die.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
That is survival of the fittest, baby, and that's the Caribbean. I can respect that. Like,
Yeah.
if you fall down the stairs without a railing from the 3rd story, is what it is. There's no suing anyone. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have been there. You shouldn't have done
That's
that.
it. Yeah. You should have known. You should have known.
On the flip side, though, I would have hung out with the Pelican too.
Yeah. But sure, I got a
I would have
picture.
assumed it. I would have assumed it was friendly. Can you post a picture of the Pelican?
Yeah, I can do
on
that
your
for you.
landscape daddy account.
Yeah, I can do that. I'll finally get on.
On the dying.
You should tell you. If you work hard in your business all year, you can see a dying pelican on vacation too.
I think Kelly says we're going to Palm Island.
Where's that?
It's like near Barbados or something. You fly there, and then you get on a smaller plane, and the small plane flies you to Palm Island, and the whole island is a resort. And you go there as a landscaper as a result of not using your points on your credit card for like 3 years.
Nice.
And that's the only way as a landscaper in my world you can afford to go to Palm Island.
I gotta get a card like that.
You don't have a points card?
Haven't we been over this?
No.
No? I
You covered
tried.
you not being able to get a card, period, without sacrificing your.
Well, no, that's so I have cards, but I want the points card. But in order to apply to the points card, you have to have the last 3 years in taxes done. But last year's isn't done yet because the bookkeeper is fucking dragging his arse, and yeah, so I can't get a card yet, but it's coming. I'm still trying to find this.
Do you think that Cycle CPA will sponsor this podcast since they sponsor any other podcast with something to do about hardscaping? The Pelican. Love it.
Yeah, that's him there. He seems happy.
This is
Until you realize he's dying.
Begging for you to put it out of its misery.
Please, choke me out. That's the kind of thing that happens. And then the next day you're like, what's on the menu at the buffet? And they're like, Pelican. It's a delicacy here.
Oh, man.
Feed the Pelican French fries.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys good? This
We're
this is the end of the second hour of the podcast. I feel like this hour went downhill a bit at the end. You guys
Pelican
see
brought
micro-
things back up.
That's it.
I think I look the coolest with the microphone if we ever put this on YouTube.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
Well,
agree.
the first 3 episodes are on YouTube. I should put this up like this somewhere.
Oh, do you have a microphone?
Oh, yeah. It just sits on the desk, though.
You can't mount it?
I lost the mount thing. I don't know where it is. So it just sits now.
How do you lose the mount of the microphone?
You wouldn't imagine the things I lose.
Seems like it would always be attached to it.
You would think so.
Like, at
right?
what point did you say to yourself, I gotta get that fucking mount off that microphone? I gotta take that bitch apart. Again, like I've had this microphone for 2 months. I've never once thought to myself I should take it apart. Separate it into separate pieces at the house. Mount in the basement, microphone up in the attic. Perfect. That's the way we put this shit away. Never occurred to me. Obviously, it's different.
Yeah.
All right. I'm out. Have a good night, guys.
Have a
Good night.
good one, guys.